Yeah, and I'm sure you heard this week of when he gave the interview about his experience with Brian Flores and that whole situation. As a player, did you ever see anything like that? Is this something that not maybe you experienced, but someone on the team that you're around experienced? Because it sounds like this went beyond being a tough coach and trying to be a tough coach on a player. Kind of went one step beyond that from the sounds of it, as an outsider at least.
It was a big mistake by Brian Flores, and I'm not getting into the weeds of what he said or how he
Yeah,
said it or what actually was said, but that it just showed the inexperience of him as a coach. I don't think that there was a hatred thing involved, or I don't think there was a big dislike. I think that he was just being inexperienced. You know, you got to learn how to coach certain players different. If he came up to me and said those things, it wouldn't bother me because I can go out and kind of use my aggression if you piss me off, right? I can go out and use my
yeah,
aggression against those offensive guys. Your quarterback is the main focal point of your team, and he has to be not only physically ready to go, but mentally ready to go. So if you're tearing him down, if you're constantly saying these negative things, you can't say the same things to Tua that you say to Phillips, that you're going to be able to say to one of the D tackles or a linebacker. You can't. You have to understand that as a head coach, you're the biggest manager on the field. You're the manager of your coaching staff. You're the manager between your front office and the coaching staff, the manager between positions. You got to be able to go into an offensive team meeting and you got to be able to go into a defensive team meeting and understanding your personnel and who you're dealing with. And that is where a lot of new head coaches fail at, because it's one thing to establish a mentality throughout your team, but you have to know who you're dealing with. Certain guys you can get on in a certain way and it's okay. You can go up and tell a offensive lineman he missed that block, you keep missing it, you suck, right? I mean, you can say those things to certain players and they're going to respond different. You can't do that to your quarterback, that you're telling the, hey, if you go out and make a bad play, that he has to forget that play and move on to the next. You have to be able to do that. And so, and by the way, I think that when it's not talking about Tua played for Nick Saban. So we know
exactly.
he knows tough coaches. It's not like
Yeah,
he's coming and he's soft, he's complaining. No, there had to have been some very derogatory things said where it was just
it
kind of
sounds
shooting
like.
at him and poking at him, because Nick Saban is as tough as it gets. But he also understands that you can't be a certain way with your quarterback. And I think that was a learning experience for Brian Flores. I think he's a better person, a better coach for it now. And he kind of alluded to it in this press conference. It
Yep.
wasn't like he shied away from it. He didn't get into the weeds of what was said, but I think he knew that he had some growing to do as a coach. So hopefully he learned his lesson, and Tua is in a much better situation right now than he was when he was there.